Hi, my name is Ben and welcome to Field Foley episode 7. On today's episode, we will get to know Katharina Bär, a sound designer based in Düsseldorf, Germany. With a strong musical background, she combines her passion for music and recordings in her work on game audio, film projects, and audiobooks. She has also worked on audio narration with curated music and Foley for the board game Frosthaven. Katharina also has experience in live mixing and recording musical and classical concerts, as well as developing directional characteristics of different instruments in VR for her bachelor's thesis. We're excited to hear more about her unique projects and approach to sound design. So, Katharina, welcome and thanks for taking the time today.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so my first question would be, because I was very intrigued about it, how did you approach modeling the sound of instruments in VR for your bachelor thesis?
Oh, there's basically a data set from, I think it's the University of Berlin, and in collaboration with another one. I forgot at the moment.
It's fine.
They recorded a lot of instruments in a controlled setting, and they recorded only single tones and stuff, and took measurements from all angles around the instrument. It's basically a big ball of microphones, and the players it's in the middle. And then you have a whole data set that tells you if the instrument plays frequency X, it's in the front, it's louder. On the back, you don't hear it that much. On one side, you hear it a lot. And I took this data set, threw it into MATLAB. Is it in English MATLAB? I don't know. And yeah, then I put all of that in Wise and made a filter system. Basically, it's an EQ system that changes the EQ based on the position, on your position to the instrument.
That's very interesting, and
it's a little bit difficult to explain. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. I mean, it's a very complex topic for if you're getting into details, and I especially have problems with math, so that would be my downfall. But what really would interest me is, as you have already experience with live mixing and with especially classical concerts, after you've put it in and tested it out, how was the experience? Did you encounter any limitations in technology that made it apparent that there's still a gap to the real recording, or was it basically almost indistinguishable from if it would have been a real recording in a room?
It is definitely noticeable. The problem is most people don't notice. If you have the usual VR player and you put them in front of a VR instrument, let them go around it. Maybe there are some differences you can hear if they're very drastic, but for the most part, you only hear it if you're really concentrating on it and have experience with doing the same thing with a real instrument in a real room, walking around the instrument, listening to in what spaces, how does it sound, from which angle.
I see. So yeah, for the end customer, it's good enough yet already.
It was a great experiment. I did a hearing test with a lot of people, and it seemed to make a difference. So most people said it does sound more realistic, but they couldn't tell me why. So it was an experiment, but I think it does not have make such a difference for a game or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I also thought about it as like a really interesting experiment. But yeah, what really interested me is if you could pick out or if you have picked out what exactly was different or what was not like the real thing. Could you like pinpoint what it was, or was it just like it sounds a bit off?
Mm, no, it does not sound off. It's also for me, it's not that noticeable. So it's way stronger in reality, from my experience, than it is in VR. Maybe that's due to my bad system. That's totally possible. A bit a system that does not work very well. Yeah.
And yeah, going further to like the real thing. I've read that you were live mixing a concert at the Tonhalle Düsseldorf for a live stream. Can you walk us a bit through your process of live mixing, especially like how much can you prepare for such an event, or is it very easy after everything is set up and it's all in the setup, or does anything unexpected come up and you have to like react?
Well, in my case, I work at Tonhalle Düsseldorf, also as a sound engineer. So I know the concert hall, I know the orchestra, and we had time to prepare and record the rehearsal. So basically, we made a mix in when the rehearsal took place, and then when the actual live stream starts, you don't do much. You sit there and you control everything. That basically you see that nothing breaks.
Okay, yeah.
And if something, I don't know, if some maybe the soloist plays louder than in the rehearsal, then you just do little adjustments, but that's really it.
Yeah, so it's all in the preparation.
Yeah, definitely.
So you do like a rehearsal mix as well. That's interesting. Yeah, and how did you come to that job? I mean, was it like a normal process of just trying to find something interesting, or was it always your dream of doing live mixing? Or because I've never done live mixing. I've done some bands, but I wouldn't call that mixing. It was just making them not sound shitty, and that's it.
No, it's actually a collaboration from my university with the concert hall. So it is basically a student job, or they do it as a student job, and every sound engineer is also a student and can come to Tonhalle and record the concerts there, and also take the recordings home and mix them at home, and have it as practice for university, basically. So this is how I got there.
So that's interesting. So you get like a real high quality recording to practice on.
Yes.
And probably a lot of expensive microphones in the Tonhalle as well, right?
Well, some. We don't have that many microphones actually, but we can also use some from the university.
Okay.
I mean, the uni has a lot of expensive microphones. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's always fun to have a lot of nice gear to test without having to spend a lot of money for everything.
Oh yes.
Just to test it out and to see what works and what doesn't. And so, do you use that also to practice recording, to try out different like approaches, where to put the microphones, what kinds of microphones to use, and how to mix, or is it like a set thing that you learn and then you like do it as you have been taught?
No, definitely we try out different things. I mean, especially when you are in uni, that's the whole point of it.
Mm-hmm.
To try out new things, to see where you can put microphones, what microphones can you use where, what does sound good, what does sound really, really awful.
Yeah, I think that's the best experience you can have, finding something that sounds really awful so you know what to avoid. I've had my fair share of recordings when I came home that were unusable, or I would say noise to be used for other purposes than intended.
Yeah, I have a lot of those, especially like from I say concert halls, but it's mostly like, I don't know, school, how do you say that, auditoriums or something with an orchestra or a, I don't know, or a band that is not very good. And then you come home with the recording. It's basically, well, not usable for anything. But
I mean, you never know.
That's how you learn.
Yeah, but you never know. You might run into a project where you need like a shitty band recording for a video game or for some kind of scene. So
yes, maybe.
Yeah, as always, as I said to my last guest, or we both like agreed, there's no such thing as a shitty recording, because there's always some kind of thing you can make out of it, and even if it's just sound design and just do some granular synthesis or other things and sample it.
That's true. I've never tried that. Doing
recommend
sound design from a shitty recording. I should try.
I can really recommend it, especially because you learn to also embrace those things where you didn't record anything good, because it not only teaches you something, because sometimes it doesn't teach you anything. Sometimes you just forgot something or you made a silly mistake you already knew. But just use those to go through and mangle with the sound and use it as a source for something. That I can really recommend. It's always fun.
I will try.
Great. And on that front, starting out with the whole recording, do you remember what you struggled with the most starting out, and how did you overcome it?
What did I struggle with most? That's difficult.
I mean, whatever comes to mind. Yeah.
I guess it's picking out the right microphone, because where I started out in uni really with recording, and as I said, we had a lot of microphones available, and then you sit there and just are like, okay, I'm going to record, I don't know, a clarinet today. What do I use?
Yeah.
Or I'm going out and going, I don't know, ambience recording of whatever, a train. Is this microphone that I used last week to record a trumpet, is this also working? I don't know. I guess that's it.
I see. You never know until you try, right? But that's great. Because I can certainly feel that. I had the same thing in the beginning. I just had a bunch of microphones, just like a handful, and I was always like bringing everything just to make sure I try everything, for ambiences, for whatever instrument I did. And yeah, I think maybe even if you somehow can find some information on what kind of microphone you use, I've learned more and more than that it's really about getting to know the gear yourself, right? And what you feel comfortable and what you learn how you can do something.
Well, the thing is, if you have not so many choices, it's actually easier, because the microphone you have is the one you're going to use, and that is the one which is going to make a good recording for you.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. It's the microphone you have in hand. It's the perfect one right at this moment. Maybe also going into the topic of, because you mentioned going out for ambiences and stuff. You mentioned you go out with your Zoom, doing some field recording. Why did you decide to do that? Is it like just like as part of the uni, you also wanted to go into field recording, or do you have maybe other reasons as well?
No, my uni courses were only sound engineering and music recording. It had nothing to do with games or Foley or anything. I just started that because, I got into games. And I had nothing. I had no libraries, no nothing. And we were making a game, and I needed ambience, so I took what I had and I went out and recorded some.
Oh, nice. Okay, so not just like as a hobby or trying out, or you really had like something you had to get done.
Yeah.
So that was your goal, getting all those ambiences. So from the beginning up, what was the first thing you recorded, the first sound, and why did you record it? I guess why it was because you needed it for the game project, right?
The first sound ever. you mean?
Yeah.
Or well, the first sound ever I recorded were 4 clarinets.
Oh, 4 clarinets. Okay.
So, but that was music. So I guess you're asking about sound design or ambience.
Both is fine. I mean, 4 clarinets is a nice first sound. For me, it was like the default thunderstorm thing.
Yeah, that was. I recorded and I also played in the ensemble, and it was my my entry for applying to uni.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you played the clarinet and recorded it, and that
Yes,
was your hand.
and I absolutely did not know what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
it sounded very bad, but somehow I got in, so it worked.
That's nice. So maybe also on the topic of recording, do you have anything that you enjoyed the most so far recording? I mean, you mentioned trains, recording a train, and I recently recorded a train and found it very enjoyable. All those sounds. Do you have anything favorite? Anything you said, man, that one thing I recorded that was really something?
I think from the recording experience, I like to record calm ambiences. Like, I don't know, you're on the beach somewhere and you just record the waves and sit with your microphone on the beach. Things like this. It's very, very cool, very calming. I don't know, I don't record so much, actually. I'm more of I take things out of the library person, just because of time reasons.
Time constraints, yeah.
Yeah.
I've also got into that topic with other guests about why don't you just like use something out of the library? And what I'm hearing from a lot of colleagues is that oftentimes they feel it's faster and easier to just record the thing you need, because as you're starting to grow your library, you start to have like millions of sounds, and if it's not like anything specific, like say an explosion, which is not as easy to record in your backyard, then especially for Foley, for body movements or something like that, people tend to record them themselves because they can perform them. Is that something that you also noticed yet, or is it like for you mostly like library sounds and then you just record something for a special purpose, or I don't know?
I wouldn't say it's easier to record it, at least for me, because I don't have so much Foley equipment. And with equipment, I mean basically junk.
Yeah, trash.
Foley junk. I try to keep my flat a little bit clean of Foley junk. It's not working very well, but I try my best. I find it it sounds better in the end if you record it yourself. It just fits better than to take a sound from a library. But I don't know. I take sounds of library out of libraries a lot, and it also for generic stuff it works well, I think, and I'm faster that way. Foley recording is for me it's a bit more work.
Yeah,
because I have to set everything up. I have to look around. What do I need? What do I want to record? What sounds right? I'm not a Foley artist.
yeah, I see. Also for your project for the audio narration for the board game, I think it was Frosthaven. It was right. That was also something that interested me. Did you record anything for that? Because I've seen that there are like Foley sounds as well, or was it more like a composition of doing the music and ambient stuff with the stuff you had in libraries?
I think I recorded like 1 or 2 sounds, but not a lot. It was really just because we had a lot of material to go through, and it took long. It took a very long time to make all of this, and we were all just faster to take things out of libraries and reuse stuff we reused in what is it called, in episodes we already did.
I see, yeah.
And in this case, it makes sense because it's always the same. It's the same group of heroes or people who are going through this world and exploring this world. And of course, they're making the same sounds mostly. When they walk, they run, they fight. So we kind of imagined a group and what sounds do they make, and then we could reuse them to an extent.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so you were like a group of people doing the sound for this, as I heard it?
Yes, we were 6 or 7 people.
Oh, nice.
And the most basically one person did a lot of it. Like the main chunk was one person, and then a few of us were on and off. Some were doing like one episode, and like I did, I think 6 or 7 or something.
Nice. And how did you come to this gig, if I may ask? Because it's I've never heard of audio narration for a board game before. I mean, I've used to use music and maybe some ambient tracks for pen and paper stuff, but for the board game, that's very unique to me.
That was part of my. I was at Dynamedion and Boom Library for 1.5 years.
Nice.
And that was part of one of the gigs for Dynamedion.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like Boom Library a lot, of course, as we all do.
As we all do.
Yeah, it's yeah. So you're doing more like the soft stuff, the ambient stuff. Do you find yourself like searching for specific libraries, or do you like then go out and try to record them yourselves? Because if you don't find it, then maybe make it yourself and then make it your own.
Yeah, I don't look for new libraries that much because I don't believe in gathering as much libraries as you can. So if I really need something and I don't find it in the things I have, I mean, if I do something really specific, I might look for a library. But mostly, if I don't find it in the stuff I have, then I go and record it, if it's possible. Like, I don't know, if I need a certain animal or something, I can go and record that very easily. So I would, I guess, look for a library then.
Yeah, that's animal sounds is also something I've struggled with a lot. I've started to get into animal recordings because I needed some bird chirps and general bird sounds, and of course was very frustrated running around with my recorder and trying to get bird sounds, and I got everything else and the birds in it, but
I'm hunting pigeons at the moment. I'm waiting for pigeons to land on my balcony, and then I grab my microphone and try to record them. But obviously, I record everything else that goes on in front of my window.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can probably go out with a shotgun mic and might get some interesting results. But for me, that really started like the whole journey of getting into different microphones. And I got a parabolic microphone. I don't know if you're aware of those.
Actually not, no.
Okay, it's like you can imagine it's like a satellite dish, but see-through.
Yeah.
And it's like a directional, very, very directional mic. And you can just point them at the birds or on other stuff, and it's a lot of fun, but it's also trying to find the sound is interesting because oftentimes you hear a bird and then you try to find it with your microphone without seeing it, and that's definitely takes some training to get used to it and to find where the sound is coming from. But if you get it, you get like a really clear recording with very little noise in the background. And I got some bird songs that are just amazing. I can really recommend it if you have the chance to get one of those mics. It's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
But also you need a lot of stamina.
A bit like a microphone looking glass.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a telelens for like for photographers. It's exactly the same. And you could also like in if you have animal parks or something, you can record bear sounds or other animals that are like by nature far away. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. Can really recommend trying that out. But it's also it's a beast in itself. It's a very sometimes you stand there with your arm outstretched for like half an hour and you get tired, but you try to find that, so you switch arms and yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, that's fun. Yeah, field recording as a entry to finding your own sounds is interesting, but yeah, do you have any favorite place so far to record, or do you just like go out and try to find what you need right now? Or do you also go maybe out without a purpose, just like recording stuff, trying to find if there's something interesting out there?
I definitely go out without a purpose and just try see what I find. Especially when I'm not at home, like when I'm actually when I'm on holiday. Of course, I take a microphone,
Of course.
and of course, I take a day and go with my microphone and try to see what I find because I can't help myself. Well, because maybe I find something cool. Who knows? Yeah, so definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely also my idea of holidays. Taking my microphone with me and having at least one day. It's always something. I mean, you're either at the beach, you're maybe in the mountains, or in an interesting city. So there's always something you can find there.
I went to Rome last year, and
Nice.
I actually took my microphone into the Sistine Chapel
Ooh.
because I don't know. I know photographing and filming is not allowed, but nobody said anything about microphones. So I just
Nice.
so I have some ambience in the Sistine Chapel. I don't know how useful that is, but I have it.
I mean, that's quite an achievement, I would say. Very very bold of you. Interesting. How did it sound?
Well, I did imagine it really quiet, but there are so many people in the chapel, and they don't have any some of them haven't any respect at all for it's a church, and every 2 minutes or so there's some guard telling everyone to be quiet through a microphone through speakers.
Very calming.
So it's really interesting. Not at all how I imagined it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
And it kind of the ambience kind of swells because everyone is talking or whispering, and after the guard said please be quiet, it's all whispers, and then it goes up again, people are talking again, it gets louder, the guy says please stop talking, it's going down again, whispers.
So in waves, then, yeah, that's really
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, the group dynamics is always fun. Yeah, maybe also on the topic on sound pollution. Is there anything you now notice more like with field recording? I mentioned this because when I started out, I realized very quickly that I hate planes because planes were always ruining my
Oh, yeah.
recordings, and also if you really like concentrate on just active listening and being in the moment, you hear so many car sounds or other sounds. Do you have any like approach to that? Do you especially go to remoter places or something, or do you just like take your microphone and if something comes out of it, then it's fine?
Well, as I said, I live in Düsseldorf, or as you said, I live in Düsseldorf. It's not here. There's no place here where no noise pollution is. So I will have to go. I don't know actually where, and I don't have a car, so I'm always near a train track, near a street. Something will always be there. So I tend to ignore it or do as best as I can, and then really listen for it because, well, I know I'm at a street or wherever, and then try to make longer recordings. Really listen to periods where I really have silence, or make sure that I have a period where I really have some silence to record what I want. But it's difficult, especially here.
Yeah, I can imagine. Do you by chance have a contact microphone?
No, but I really want one.
Yeah, I can absolutely recommend this for noisy environments because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or rather, it's even nicer to have noisy environments than put it on like bridges or on trains or on everywhere you're around. It's so fun.
Yeah, they sound really fun. I really like to have one. I need to. I saw that someone built one out of what is it called? The fire
Old
alarm
fire alarm, yeah.
thingy.
Right.
I actually wanted to try that. I have a broken fire alarm here.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
perfect.
I could just go buy one. But the fire alarm thing sounds like a little bit more fun. Maybe I try that first. And if it does sound shit, then I go buy one actually.
Yeah, absolutely. If you need a recommendation, just hit me up because I also saw
Yeah.
the fire alarm and I really wanted to buy it, and maybe I will for like a noise box or something. But I have some really nice ones. And I have them always in my bag because there's always some chance of using them for like lots of surfaces. And yeah, I can really recommend that. But also, I mean, on the other hand, you have access to like a big bustling city with lots of noises. So that's also something that comes in handy probably for a lot of
Yes.
sounds, because I don't have that. I have to drive quite a way for like a bigger city. I live in a very, I would say, medium-sized or tiny city. So not really skyscrapers or a lot of trains or anything.
Yeah, if I want city noise, like a lot of people, a lot of cars, trains. We have an airport really nearby. If I want those sounds, that's really good here.
Yeah,
Or
maybe.
ship noises actually, because
Oh,
here's
nice.
the Rhine, and I think like every 2 minutes there's a really big freighter or something going by.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's also something I have yet to record. Yeah, maybe we should open up like a group in Air Wiggles and swap sounds for like, I need this specific thing, and the other one is like, yeah, I have that every day. You can have something of mine.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I think also, I don't know if you know the Slack community for the sound design. They do a sound effect swap every month. You have like a topic, and then you record some sounds, and everybody pitches in, and you get all the sounds at the end. So can really recommend that then, because if you like see the topic and think, oh yeah, I have time for that, you can just pitch in 2 or 3 recordings of your own and get like gigabytes of material back. That's always interesting.
Yeah, I don't know the Slack group, but I know I am familiar with the concept. There's another SFX swap initiative from I don't know who actually, but it's just called SFX swap, and you just put in one sound effect. They do it every month, and you can put as many sound effects as you like in, and you get tons of sound effects out of it. It's really good.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
Especially when you're starting out and you don't have the money to buy libraries. I wish I had that when I started. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
Would have been amazing.
Yeah, if you find that link, we can put it in the show notes. That would be nice, because it's always good for beginners to have that. And yeah, I would also recommend like taking part in those, because you also get the experience of recording something yourself with a set goal, which is also interesting, because as you also mentioned, most of the time the approach, I think, should be to go out without like a real goal in mind, just to actively listen and to train your ears, so to say. But yeah, that's also a really good point of like really thinking about, okay, if I want to have a recording, for example, the last SFX swap I did was a lifeless environment. So anything that doesn't have any sounds of like traffic, human people, noises, stuff like that. So yeah, I really thought hard, and then I found a place where my dad works, and I put the microphones up in the attic, and you had those like rain pouring up on the roof, and had those ambiances, which was really interesting. It was like a kind of almost haunted house kind of deal. Very interesting, and also interesting to see what other people come up with and what they record. And you have recordings of people that have like a shed somewhere in the woods with no one around, which also sounds very cool. Yeah, that's also cool.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Also on the topic on recording, do you have anything special that you always want to record, but didn't get the chance yet? Any place or anything you say, man, that would be cool to record?
What I always wanted to record.
If you have something, yeah.
Not really. I don't know. I've never thought about that. I really want to record animals at some point because I find it very interesting. But no specific place. No, not really.
Yeah. No, I mean that's fine. Animals is also something I want to get it more into, and I've started to like learn from people that did this. I don't know if you know the podcast Tonebenders. Can really also recommend it, and it's in the last episode they had one of the guests was from Russia, I think, and he recorded a lot of wolf sounds, and it was actually a library I bought beforehand on a recommendation from another sound artist, and it was interesting to hear how much work got into making this library and how much you have to like really know the animal and at first try to always approach with caution, of course, but also I think he sent them his blip for the shotgun microphone beforehand, so they could put it in the cage and the animals could like get used to it. So because it's of course it's a bit of fur and it's a strange looking device and they don't know it. So really interesting. And then also maybe also as a tip for other people, he also mentioned that it's interesting how you approach people asking for permission to record this, because especially with animals and stuff like that, if you have any like maybe sanctuaries or something like that, people are often wary of people coming in and doing something there. So that's also it's a whole thing. You have to find like the right place, the right time, and then also know the animal, because I also was in a zoo once trying to get some animal sounds, and most of them are pretty silent most of the time, because of course why should they just scream around, right?
It's true. Yeah, also many animals that have kind of a signature sound, like an owl, for example. But most of the time the owl does not make this specific sound. It's just a mating call, and you have to know. Then first of all you have to know this, and then you have to have a person. I mean, I have been on the editing side of animal recordings a lot for Boom Library, so I learned a lot from the offcuts, basically.
I see.
The things we could not use, and they had a person who could imitate this mating call so that the owl would answer.
Oh,
so
that's
this
interesting.
is also stuff you have to know, and you have to have the people with you who know the animal and can bring the animal to make a specific sound.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the person that recorded this also mentioned that he used like his phone to record the animals or use other animal sounds and play them so they would answer. It's almost the same, but he used recordings. That is also good. Interesting. Yeah, but it's good if you can make the sound yourself. That is maybe even easier.
I don't know. In this case, it was like the person knew the animal and could imitate it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But I guess phone recording also works. Interesting. Yeah. This I did not know.
I mean, that depends on the animal. I think he mentioned with some animals, I think it was it lions or something? They put it on like massive speakers on a car and played like roaring sounds and put them somewhere farther away so they would like get interested and answer. And but you also really you really have to know what kind of sounds to play, because you don't want to like anger animals or scare them. You want to provoke them into like answering maybe. But yeah, it's a whole beast in itself. But if you get into animal recording, it's probably fun for years. So, yeah, good luck with that. And maybe we'll talk again in like half a year or 2 or something about that.
Yeah, maybe.
That's cool. Okay. I think I'm all out of questions for now. The only thing that's left maybe is, do you want to plug anything, any project you're working on, anything you want to shout out? Feel free.
I have not thought about that. No, not really.
Not really. That's fine.
I cannot talk about my project at the moment. It's not announced. I just
NDA.
started a new job and yeah.
I see.
No.
Secrets.
Not really.
Secrets. No, that's
Secret
fine.
stuff. It's always secrets.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it is.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, thanks again for being on my show.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Attention, please. Silenzio. Silence, please. No pictures, no video, no photo. Silence, please. Thank you.
Looking for more audio-related podcasts to listen to? We're part of the Audio Podcast Alliance, featuring a hand-picked selection of the very best podcasts about sound. Be sure to hear the latest episodes from our friends in the community at audiopodcast.org. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting on patreon.com/fieldandfoley or ko-fi.com/fieldandfoley, where you gain early access to episodes in lossless format and can submit questions for our guests. Thank you for listening.